Hello and welcome to this new lesson. We are still in the ArcSight Enterprise Security Management series of videos, and we in the Smart Connectors section of the ESM 101 document. We stopped at the ArcMC in the previous video, so let's start from this point. The ArcMC is actually the abbreviation for ArcSight Management Center. It is a hardware solution that hosts the smart connectors in your environment in a single device with web-based user interface for centralized management. So the ArcMC offers unified control of smart connectors hosted on the appliance itself and on any remote host. If you have a general purpose Windows servers and you have the software based smart connectors installed on them, still with ArcMC you can manage these remote smart connectors, as well as the onboarded one on the ArcMC itself. The ArcMC supports bulk operation across all the smart connectors, so you can, for example, make one change for the connectors, like the batching frequency of the smart connectors, like the destinations configured for the smart connectors, and then apply this through bulk operation to all the smart connectors in your environment. And this is very useful if you have a large number of smart connectors. The ArcMC provide a smart connector management facility in logger-only environments. And what's meant here by logger-only, the only exception for ArcMC is that it cannot manage ESM or software or ESM appliances or ESM Express. So this is the only exception, and maybe my focus will consider this in the future to include the ESM as well, or have a separate solution. I don't know. This is in the future, but till the moment, the ArcMC is only managing smart connectors hosted on the appliance itself, or remote ArcMCs. If you have software ArcMCs hosted on your own hardware, the main appliance ArcMC can still manage these remote ArcMCs. It can manage remote smart connectors, software based, hosted on general purpose servers. It can manage loggers. So ArcMC is ideal for logger only environments. It's single interface through which to configure, monitor, tune, and update smart connectors. As we said, through bulk operations, you can make a lot of configuration changes across multiple smart connectors, and you can still update the smart connectors. ArcSight Management Center does not affect working smart connectors. So in case you have smart connectors in your environment and you just onboarded the ArcMC in your ArcSight ecosystem, unless you didn't configure the ArcMC to talk to these smart connectors, your smart connectors will still work and doesn't care about the existence of this new onboarded ArcMC. So you need to configure the ArcMC to work with the smart connectors, as we will see later in the next chapters. So as I said, the ArcMC is ideal for the multiple heterogeneous destinations like logger deployed along with ESM, but this doesn't mean that it can manage the ESM. As I said, only it can manage everything except the ESM, and this is useful for large number of smart connectors involved in the environment, like for MSSP or service providers deployments. Supported data sources. ESM collects output from data sources like network nodes, Trojan detection prevention systems, vulnerability assessment tools, firewalls, antivirus, anti-spam tools, encryption tools, application audit logs, physical security logs, as we saw before, the Discord reader which logs attempt for a worker who came outside his business hours, or not on the day that he's supposed to come. All these type of logs from these different categories is being collected by the smart connectors and sent to the ESM or the logger. So this graphic is showing, it's very nice graphic that show the different log source categories. Here are security categories like IPS, antivirus, vulnerability management, network monitor, access and policy control, VPN, firewalls, identity management, um, core service logs like database, audit logs, web server logs, physical security, card readers, biometrics, network hardware, router switches, encryption devices, data security, integrity. All of this type of categories of log sources can be covered by the ArcSight smart connectors, and then put them into a common format so you can monitor through dashboards, reports, active channels. You can make correlation through rules and different resources, as we will see later. For complete list of the smart connectors supported, you have to visit the Protect 724 community, the microfocus community. So if we go to this link, here is the ArcSight connector documentation. So you can see here all the configuration guides for the different types of smart connectors. So we have a lot of for Cisco ICE, for example. We have for the Cisco ION port. You have for Dell, HP, IBM, Bluecode, Proxy, for Windows. Lot of configuration guides for different types of log sources. And this sheet, the ArcSight connector supported product sheet, is actually a good index for all the kind of supported log sources. So simply, if you are making a project, preparing for a project, and you want to know if the ArcSight will support your devices into your organization, you have to look after this document to see if you have this support or not. So for example, I need to see if my Palo Alto will be parsed correctly. Yes, Palo Alto Networks is one of the list. You have Trend Micro, you have a lot of log sources, and all categorized in sections like database, integrated security. So it's very nice document, and the document is well organized in a way that can make your life easier, and you can assist you in preparation for your new implementation. So coming back, here is the next section, the Flex connector. The Flex connector, as we said before, it's a framework or a software development kit that allow the customers to write their own smart connectors tailored to their customer applications or in-house developed applications. So it's a very powerful kit by Micro Focus ArcSight, and it has multiple methods for integrating with the log sources, like file reader, so it can read from files. It has a regular expression file reader. What's the difference? File readers are these files that have logs separated with a common delimiter. Regular expressions is very dynamic logs, so you can write a regular expression to match the patterns inside the logs. Time-based database reader, so you can access your database and read the logs through time-based database reader or ID-based database readers. Syslog, SNMP, so many mechanisms to read logs from your custom applications. Finally, we have this forwarding connector, which can forward events between multiple managers or multiple ESMs in a hierarchical ESM deployment. So you can have ESM per region and then a global ESM. So every ESM in every region forwarding its logs, its own logs to the global ESM for global correlation, for example. So this is a powerful feature. You actually get this connector and install it on your ESM on the Linux level, on the Red Hat or the CentOS, and configure it to forward to a another upstream or downstream connector, downstream ESM, or you can even forward to another logger according to the design, according to the use cases, according to the objective. You can use this forwarding connector. It's very powerful. One scenario that I'd like to highlight, you may have a dual feed from the smart connector, so you are forwarding the logs from the smart connectors to the logger and to the ESM at the same time. So the logger stores the logs for long-term retention and the ESM is responsible for the correlation. But with this scenario, you are losing the correlation events on the logger. In that case, you can install the forwarding connector on the ESM to just forward the correlation events to the logger. So even the correlation events are being sent to the logger and have the long-term retention, and you will never lose the visibility on the correlation events over a long period or historical periods. So that's it for this section. I hope it was beneficial for you, and see you in the next section, ArcSight Manager.